Today we're gonna have a history class. We're gonna let you know how did everything started from the point that I met Ralph, that I introduced Ralph to this guy Kenneth Lee, to Kenneth writing an article, then publishing it in Vibe magazine, and then boom, basically Fast and the Furious, a movie developed on Ralph's history on street racing. So I'm gonna let Ralph do the talking though. I know you guys are tired of looking at me, so I'm gonna let Ralph do the talking. Ralph, and you know what? At the end of this video, there's a special thing why we're doing this video, to commemorate the 23-year anniversary of DRT racing. If you don't know what that is, Google it, because that's one of the longest standing shops in the East Coast. If not the country, Ralph, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So Ralph, tell people, how did you start in racing?
Well, basically, I started street racing from the early age, from an early age. Since I was 11 or 12 years old, I used to go on a bicycle and see people racing, basically, in the streets. And from there on, that caught my attention. I always kept coming down there until I had a legitimate age to actually learn how to drive a car, and it all started from there.
What was your first experience in a car, at street racing?
Well, my first experience in a car was and I used to work in a shop, and they told me if I could drive, and I said I could, and I just drove an automatic car in and out of a parking lot. So that was my first experience. As far as racing, basically I started racing like in 190th Street in Amsterdam, but not really. We wouldn't even call it racing. I was just driving, and I thought I was racing, I could say, but it wasn't. Then it moved on to Chase Stadium. In Chase Stadium, I did a lot of racing with a bunch of people that I met there, and that's when I really got involved in the racing part. And it grew from there.
It grew from there. And I tell you, so here is a funny anecdote. I'm gonna tell you how I got to meet you, Ralph. Kenneth Lee, the writer of the Vibe magazine article, who I met at a store where I used to hang out, Eastern Autosports in Queens. The guy says, I want to write an article, but I need a character. So we will go to the street racers and see people, and then you rolled up by yourself and whipped everybody's ass with a white Civic, and they didn't know what happened. So Ralph, tell us about that night, because I remember biblically, you came with your leather jacket, fancy shoes, and everybody's on their mechanic thing, and boom, you beat their ass and got paid and left,
Yeah, that's when actually that was my first Honda, actually.
That was?
Yeah, that was my first Honda, and that was like, I remember I did the first swap in it, and I remember we changed the whole harness because we didn't know how simple it was to do the swap. So we used to take the harness from the whole Integra and swap the complete harness in the car.
What year was that though, Ralph? Tell them, because they don't really know.
I remember. That must have been 96, 97 maybe.
No, I think it was,
yeah.
Might have been earlier than that, no? But
Yeah,
anyway,
96.
even in 96, when you think about it, the Integra still, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the hot car, the Type R is about to come out.
Well, you're right, because the Civic was 94.
Right.
You're right. The Civic was 94. So it must have been 95, around there.
Yeah. So
95.
So here, that's one of the most memorable things when I saw you, Ralph. But the funniest thing when we were ever hanging out together is when you put that MSD two-step and the people didn't know, and you would tell them that, no, I'm gonna race you, but my car is missing. Tell us about that.
I used to trick people into that the car was missing by holding the two-step. Yeah, we used to hold the two-step, and it sounded like the car was missing. A lot of people didn't know what that was at the time.
Right, and I know it right now. You're watching the video and people didn't know what two-step was. You got it goddamn right. People did not know at that time what the two-step was.
Right.
So Ralph was ahead of his time. So we became friends, Ralph, right?
Yeah.
And then we started hanging out at a Speed and Sound in Yonkers,
Yep.
where I saw you build your black Integra, and we had a lot of fun with that. I think I had a 94 Civic.
94 Civic Blue.
Yeah, with an LS.
Yeah.
Fun times. But from there, I got to watch you build the Speed and Sound Civic, which became the East Coast's fastest car at that time.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about that car, because as far as Honda development in the Northeast, that's an iconic piece of history for front-wheel drive Honda drag racing.
Yeah, and the good thing is that at the time we didn't know what we were doing or what we were building. It was the first Honda ever built to that point. I remember we just wanted to run 11s. That was our goal. If we go out and run 11s, it would have been good. That was a good friend of mine named Paul. He bought the car. He was putting everything for the car building. I was doing all the fabrication and most of the building. We had a couple of people help us out, because in those days you just couldn't walk into any shop and say, I need a set of rods, I need a set of pistons. Everything took 8 weeks, 12 weeks, anything to make. So it took us a whole year to build that car, just because we had to wait for parts so long. And then every time we wanted to do something, either we needed a clutch that was better now because we're making more power. It was always chasing the next problem. We were always chasing the next problem.
Right. So for those of you that don't know, you know what, I have to say, essentially on the East Coast, I was part of the shop, but you really were the brains as far as the mechanic goes. I was the marketing guy.
Yeah.
I just pushed papers around and made sure that people know the name. But you were largely responsible for the development of a lot of great products.
Yeah, I was hands-on in the shop, so yeah, I did all the.
And you
all
gave
the
a lot of
install,
feedback to manufacturers and all that. So it's very exciting. Like that was a great moment. Then, right behind you is the article for the DRT racing car, which we got as a gift, right? Remember when we got that coupe as a gift? We were so happy.
Yeah, from only one auto parts. It was a junkyard out in the Bronx. And they gave us a car. It was brand new. It was still the same year. It was '97.
Yeah, and you went to town to what was the guy's name that did the chassis? Eric. Yeah,
Eric
he went to the shop. He did the chassis, and then later on you got crazy and you twin turbo the car.
Correct.
And ran it. So great times.
We also were the first ones. The first set of dry shop axles were actually with us. Actually, I had them and I gave them to Frank.
Right.
He posted something on Facebook saying, "Who's did these belong to?" And that was the first ever set of axles he made.
Right.
And we were there. We were there from the beginning with the dry shop.
Right. So great memories. It's good. It's great to see Ralph progressing and continuing, because now you got partnerships with AEM, with Motec, with a lot of great companies, and wholesaling and retailing and tuning and all that. So your racing career has not been limited to street racing, though. You won championships as far as road racing. You crew chief champions as far as road racing. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I did road racing in 1992. I was champion runner-up in Dominican Republic for 2 years. So my love for racing has been way before the shop. Learned a lot through that. Most of the mechanics that I know through that, never went to school for mechanics or any tuning or anything like that. Everything was hands-on as I went learning, which is the best school. And then from there, I kind of put a different hat after the shop, after the 2005s. I started doing consulting for road race guys and running their teams and tuning the cars for the road racing in Dominican Republic. Then he went to Costa Rica. I do Panama. So different things. Work with different people in different fields. Work with Stefan Papadakis in the drift in the Formula D. Work with the Trans Am series when AEM first introduced the Infinity ECU for the Trans Am series. I did support for AEM in races where their guys couldn't go. So it's been a pretty uphill battle all the time, but very interesting and
but you love every minute of it.
Oh yeah, exactly. I love what I do, so that's what makes it fun.
Right. So let's touch base back. So I met Ralph with Kenneth. Then we became friends, and eventually opened DRT. while the first years of DRT, Kenneth continued visiting, and we even converted his car from automatic to a stick for a guy that didn't know how to drive stick. So that was the funniest, right?
Yeah.
So, but he took 2 years to write the article, right, Ralph?
Yeah, correct.
2 years, 2 goddamn years to write the article, but you know, it was a great article. He definitely put a lot into it. Unbeknown to us, the article was sold to Hollywood. Some people from Hollywood came.
Universal bought the article.
And some people came and they spoke to us, mainly to you, Ralph. Right. And, you know, that's the end of it. But guess what? That wasn't the end of Ralph or the end of DRT, because I moved on in 2000 to go event promotion. Correct. But Ralph continued with the shop as the sole proprietor of it. And to this day, he continues his successful career. And guess what? We're here today, you know, looking forward to the 23rd year anniversary. And for that, he has decided to launch this t-shirt, Ralph. So tell them what the meaning of the t-shirt is, how you feel about it, what it embodies, and it really what it took to get here. Because 23 years in any business is an achievement in itself.
It's a long time.
It's a relationship.
I got whites now.
It's a relationship.
I got whites now. So basically, the logo itself, how it appears. Most people, they don't need to see this. They just see that, and that's what's really got to be known in the East Coast and some, you know, the Caribbean and all over the United States. People know that logo.
Right, and I remember the guy who designed that logo for us, Ben, right?
Correct.
The guy Ben, and that was done by hand, right?
Hand, correct.
You know,
remember he used to say that the R is like the pipes on the headers.
Yeah,
and he had like a meaning to it. He's a guy that done a lot
artistic.
He's artistic, a lot of interior designing. So he designed that logo for us. And he used to say Drag Racing Technologies, which is what DRT stands for. Since the opening of the website, we put the DRTRacing.com. It takes everybody to the website, and everybody can see the history there of DRT and read more about it as well. So I decided to join up with Eat Sleep Race and make this shirt now to sell in the website.
Right. So when you're buying that shirt, before you buy it, go to drtracing.com, learn the history. If you know your history, you know your future. There's a lot of history behind DRT Racing. DRT Racing has been a part of the Honda front-wheel drive drag racing and drag racing as a whole for over 2 decades now. That, you know, Fast and the Furious series was based on Ralph's life. You know, there's a lot of interesting stuff that is more than just a t-shirt. That's, you know, Eat Sleep Race was established in 2002. So when you think about it, DRT was established in 1998. You're supporting 2 iconic brands that have supported the industry and a lot of drag racers for a long time. Not just drag racers, but road racers, street cars, right, Ralph?
Right.
You know, everybody's welcome to your shop, right? How could?
Oh, always. And the good thing up to this day, I have a lot of the new shops and the new guys out there that call me for advice, and I'm always here for them. I'm like the OG of Honda now, so on the East Coast, basically. So a lot of people have questions regarding their Hondas, and it's funny because when I was out of the track for a while, like since I was traveling to do all the road racing events and all those stuff, I missed a lot of local events, and it was a little while, maybe like 3 years, 4 years that I was in and out. I would go to some events, but not all of them. And then when I started going to the events, people was like, "Are you still open?" And asking me that. I'm like, wow, I've been out of the limelight for a little while. And then some other people were just afraid to come up to me and ask me a question, which I was like, wow, I've never been an intimidating person. I'm I'm always smiling wherever I'm at. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that I'm always smiling. I'm having fun, and anybody wants to see me at an event and want to come and talk to me or ask me something, I'm always open to help.
Right, you do a lot of AM support, right?
Correct.
You service your customers. You know, you Honda dealer. I mean, you Haltech,
I'm a main dealer for all of them, for all the electronics. Correct.
You know, safety stuff you sell. So So there you have it. You know what I mean? Check out drtracing.com. What's your Instagram, Ralph? Tell me.
Instagram is DRT Racing.
There you go. So check out his Instagram. Follow him on Instagram. Check out that May 1998 article with the Soldiers of Fortune on the cover. Look for the Racer X article, and you're gonna find it. You can't find it? Google it. Rafael Estives Racer X article. It's gonna come to the top of the Google bar, and you're gonna learn a lot of stuff about it that is gonna teach you. There's a lot of new stuff that is fabricated. This is not hype. This is actually factual base, you know, that you're gonna be reading of stuff that actually happened in the street. And yeah, you see these pots on the street now that, oh, 5,000, 50,000, this and that. There were a lot bigger pots back then, but we don't want to talk about that because that's the past.
Yeah.
You know, we probably weren't even there, Ralph.
Yeah.
We're just gonna pretend we weren't there.
And to keep people happy, come check out our Instagram. We're gonna be giving some of these aways to make everybody happy and show that we're not just trying to sell the shirt. We're also gonna do some stuff so some people can come in and get a chance to win a shirt.
There you go. There you go. So as Ralph said, follow him on Instagram. You know, check him out. He's got a lot of knowledge base. You could ask him questions, all that. And he's going to give you the chance to win some free shirts from some limited edition, right? The limited edition DRT Racing shirts by Eat Sleep Race. Check out eatsleeprace.com for more info on their stuff. The partnership, drtracing.com, eatsleepracing.com. You heard? You got to check them out. Racer X. One love.